Hey everybody, welcome to the first episode of Propels Virtual Garage, PVG for short. On our first episode, we're going to do Introduction to Endeavor. Endeavor is our latest model. We've made it in two different versions. We have the S and the Pro. Let's get into it. Here we have an Endeavor Pro. She's a beauty, isn't she? She's a dirty beauty, but she's a beauty. One thing I want to note is that anytime here on Propel Virtual Garage that we're working on boards or highlighting a board or thing like that, it's going to be a used board. I always had a problem with a lot of the service tutorials from a lot of companies. They're done in a factory with brand new boards and brand new parts and everything slides together all nice and perfectly and life is great. That's not the reality of an e-skate rider. When we go to work on our boards, they're often dirty, they've been beat on, they're dusty, greasy, and parts are different when they're dirty. So everything I show you is going to be done on a board that is ridden. Let's get right into it. Here we have a Propel Endeavor Pro. The Endeavor comes in two models. It comes in the Pro and the S. There are three main differences between the two models. First main difference is the deck. The deck on the Pro is made of carbon fiber. The deck on the S is a maple deck. The second biggest thing would be the battery. The battery configuration on the Pro is a 12S 5P of 50G Samsung cells, and on the S it's a 12S 3P with the same Samsung 50G cells. The third major difference would be the motor controllers. The Pro uses an ESC based on VESC, and the S uses a standard ESC. Now with those ESCs being different, there are two different remotes. The S gets the standard ESC remote, which is actually small and compact, fits in your hand really nicely. And then the VESC version gets a full color screen, TFT monitor, it tracks your ping rate, all kinds of good stuff on that. Really, really nice remote, super smooth. So those would be the three main differences in the two models. Some of the things that they share, some of the similarities they have, are they're both the same size. They're both 44 inches long and 17 inches wide. They both utilize the 6374 motors, which I'll touch on again later. They both utilize independent suspension, and they can both take the 7 or the 8-inch tire, which I will touch on again in the future. So some of the things we did with the board was we wanted to make this board look a little different than other skateboards, and I think we were successful with that. This is nothing like you've seen before. What we've did is we've taken our independent suspension that we utilize on our off-road board, the X4S, and we've scaled it down and made an urban version. We're calling it the urban independent suspension that we employ on the Endeavor series. The independent suspension is something that brings this board to a whole different level compared to the boards on the market that it's up against. The specs and the configuration, we're right up there. We compare, we're better than quite a few, to be honest, but the thing that really sets this board apart is the ride. This board is the most comfortable skateboard you've ever ridden. It is, trust me. Speed bumps, cracks, sticks, rocks, you name it. I mean, bike paths with all the lines, they just disappear. This board rolls over anything smoothly. This board here has, which is actually a customer's board, this board has the 8-inch knobbies on it. My board has the 7-inch street tire on it right now, because the way I've been using my board, I've been using it mostly for utility reasons, taking the trash out, going to check the mail, running across the street to the grocery store, things like that. So I'm riding mostly on the street. My off-road riding is a little further away from home, and it's hard not to get on the X4S when I'm riding that in the rough stuff, but I do plan on taking this into the woods and giving it a good thrashing, so to say. But for now, I've mainly used mine on the street. But there are two different tires, a 7-inch and an 8-inch. The 7-inch is the street tire, the 8-inch is a full knobby off-road tire. If you're in the dirt, you want the 8-inch. If you're on the road mostly, you want the 7-inch. So getting back to the independent suspension, or the urban independent suspension. It's different than our X4S suspension. Let me just define independent suspension first. Independent suspension means you have a lower control arm, an upper control arm, and a shock that runs up the middle, and the three pieces absorb the force in each wheel individually. So when you're going, if your right wheel encounters a rock, it goes over it without disturbing the left wheel. Whereas with a standard skateboard truck, which is solid all the way across, when the right wheel goes over a rock, the whole board tilts this way. Not an Endeavor, and not an X4S. That's how the independent suspension works, but this version of it is different than the X4S. They utilize the same parts, but they're configured differently. The angles are different, the design is different. the force loads are distributed differently. It just operates differently. But it all results in the smoothest riding skateboard you've ever stepped on. And so there's another little thing about the independent suspension that I was going to hold off for another video, but I'm just kind of excited to show you guys because I think it's a pretty trick. One sec, let me go get the tool. Okay, so here we have one corner of the board which shows the right front independent suspension setup with your coilover shock. Now these shocks are cool, right? I mean, look at, you got this little ring in here, you turn it to the right, it makes it tighter, you turn it to the left, it makes it softer. You can adjust that shock, that's just too cool. But I have small fingers, and it's tough to get in there. And not only that, but you have a 100-pound spring here putting tension on everything. So there's got to be a different way. Wait, what's that? Oh, that's just one of those typical Allen wrenches that you get with every electric skateboard you buy. Nope. Look down the end. You see how it's knurled? It's got a little knob on the end there. It's tooled. Well, that's there for a reason. What we do is we come back to the independent suspension over here, and you can see this ring, and you can see that it has holes in it. Look at that. Tighter, looser, tighter, looser. How trick is that? Not only that, but when you spin it all the way, the next hole becomes available, so you can keep going. Thank you, engineers. The drivetrain is a belt drive, probably the most common drivetrain in e-skate. Everybody's pretty familiar with it. Propel makes it super easy to work on. This board is literally, to change a belt, you literally take the tire off, take the belt off, put a new one on, put the tire back on. That's it. It's that easy. But servicing this board should never be an issue for you. The independent suspension, contrary to a lot of beliefs, doesn't require maintenance. This version anyway. No maintenance at all. All you do is adjust it, like I showed you earlier. That's it. Adjust it for your ride, and that's that. There are no transmissions to lube or anything like that. Maintenance on this board is extremely easy, which we'll touch on at the end of the video again. So again, 6374 motors, running a belt drive, two-wheel drive, which is pretty much the only thing that keeps this board from being an actual off-road board. Because to me, this is one of the very few true AT boards out there. You know, when AT moniker came out into e-skate, it was pretty much slapped on any street board they put big wheels on. Now it's an AT board. Well, it's really not. Yes, it can do more terrain than it could with pneumatics, but it still can't do all terrain like the off-road boards do. This is essentially an off-road board, but it's in two-wheel drive, and it doesn't have that monster clearance. It has huge clearance for an AT board. It has 4.4 inches, but compared to the 6 inches on the X4S, it's not a true off-road board, but that's the only thing holding it from being so. The independent suspension really makes a big difference when you're off-roading. Being able to take one wheel, be able to take a shock and not affect the rest of the board is a big deal in off-road. It keeps you on the board longer. You get a better ride. It's just a better experience. So now that we've covered the motors and the drive and the independent suspension, let's talk a little bit about the aesthetics. Some of the things we did at Propel to make this board look cool was when we configured our grip tape design, we made sure to cover all the screw holes that hold the deck on. You'd be surprised at how hard that is to do and still get a cool looking board. It's easy to cover the holes, but to get a graphic design that still looks cool and cover the holes, that's an accomplishment. Another thing we're rather proud of are the badging on the front and the back. And you'll notice on the rear one, that's where we keep the power button. The S model has what we call a rolling start with the ESC. So what that means is basically you roll the board forward and it powers up. So you just turn on your remote, step on and drive. The Pro, having the ESC based on VESC, it doesn't do that. You have to actually turn it on manually. So by putting the power button on the top, it really makes it easier for guys to not have to reach under the board. You can just, it's right there. So it just makes it a little easier. And it's kind of a cool look on the board, if you ask me. I like it. So we're really proud of the badges. And one thing that we're really proud of also, and it's going to be upside down, but is this center emblem. You know, Propel is primarily engineers. The owner is an engineer. It's engineer driven. That's why we do so much testing. It's just an engineer thing. Our engineers are from the automotive industry. 2 of them work with BMW. Another one worked with Siemens. And you'll notice the badge in the center. It's actual automotive quality. It's a pretty nice little touch. So aesthetically, we're really pleased with how the board came out looking. We think the wood grain is absolutely beautiful as well. I noticed a lot of guys are really taken to the look of that. We've had people ask if you could swap the decks and things like that, which you cannot do because they are different. But we're looking to add something in the future that'll meet people halfway. As you can see here, there are 6 finger wells on the underside of the board. These are for lifting it, carrying it, and most of all, doing tricks. Let's talk about what's in the box. When you get the Endeavor, it comes with a battery charger. It's a 5-amp charger. It takes about 3.5 hours. Awesome. It comes with a remote. It comes with the cable for the remote to charge it. It comes with an owner's manual, and it comes with that tool I showed you earlier and a 13mm wrench. That tool, by the way, is an H4 hex head, and it comes with the 13mm. So that's what comes in the box. The light kits come with 2 headlights and a tail light. All the mounting hardware is provided to fit the Pro and the S. I think that about wraps up our little session here today. We didn't go too deep into the board because I'm going to get into it individually with the service videos. We'll go through each part of the board as we break it up with the service videos. I just wanted to introduce the model and basically say hello and let everybody know that PVG is here. This is our first episode. Our next episodes will probably be the immediate service videos that the Endeavor owners need. There'll be 3 or 4 of those. I'll be doing those very shortly. And as this progresses, obviously this whole PVG thing is new, this being our first show. We're testing a lot of stuff. Obviously the set is makeshift. We're going to grow that as this moves along. But we just want to get this stuff out there. We know the set doesn't really matter. The information is what you need. So that was more important to us, is just to get that message out there for you guys, let you know that we're here. And my main thing that I wanted to communicate, aside from introducing Endeavor, was just a little something about Propel. A lot of people get nervous when they look at a board and they wonder if they can take care of it or repair it or maintain it, things like that. They may not be too handy. Propel is excellent with this specific thing that we all worry about. Again, they're mostly engineers at Propel, and they think like engineers and they design like engineers, and these boards are extremely easy to work on. I know a lot of people, they get nervous about it, but you're going to have a ton of support, okay? First of all, you can always reach somebody on the Propel Facebook page, and as more riders get these boards, you'll see that Propel is already developing a really killer little community of some great dudes. These are people that are always willing to help when you put up questions. A lot of them are really knowledgeable. They're really passionate about the boards they own. And there's just that one Facebook page is a great resource. But aside from that, we have text to help you. We have me. I'll be running the service center here in North America. And you can reach me on Facebook. We can talk on the phone. I can send you pictures, videos, whatever you need. There's always going to be somebody there to help you. We have 2 teams that monitor the emails because we're on different sides of the world. So we try to keep that manned, 24 hours a day around the clock, but we try to make sure we answer all emails within 12 hours. Now, we are new and we are growing. We have 6 or 7 different ways for customers to contact us. And every once in a while, a customer or 2 can slip through the cracks. If that happens, we sincerely apologize. These are just growing pains. We're going to get everything consolidated. We're going to work out programs, and we're going to put things in place so these things don't happen. But again, we're growing, and we're growing fast, and these are just the kind of the things that we have to deal with. On that note, I also want to thank our current customers for being patient with the latest things that are going on, in the industry with chip shortages and shipping being all messed up because of COVID and things like that. You guys have been awesome, been very understanding. At Propel, we plan to always be as transparent as we can. When we find out about a problem, we're going to let you know about it. Okay, we're not going to hide things. We're not going to mislead you in any way. We believe that adults can handle honesty, and they much rather hear bad news than be misled. So that's going to be the direction that we aim for at Propel. But when you do go to work on the board, know that the engineers have taken into consideration that not everybody is an auto mechanic, and access to the parts that you need to get access to commonly, it's made easy. It's just really, really well thought out, and you'll see that as you learn the board working on it yourself. But again, I just want to get that message out there that nobody needs to be intimidated by servicing any of our products. I'll be here. We have other riders that are here. We have techs that are here. We have lots of people to help you. And once you do these things once, you'll be teaching people. You know, that's just the way that these communities work. You know, riders like to help riders. That's pretty much how Propel was formed. You know, we as riders notice things in other Eastgate companies that we're not happy with, so we'll do it ourselves and we'll do it different. You know, if we have a problem with things, we address it directly. We design a lot of our own parts. These boards are not just boards that are put together out of an OEM catalog. We design these boards. These are not just parts put together. We design these boards. So, you know, moving forward, the last thing I just want to convey to you guys is that, you know, being so new and looking to grow this PVG program we have, it's going to take you. We need your input. There is no bad input. We take every criticism as just a customer trying to show us how we can do better. We don't take it personally. If you see something that we can do better, we want to know about it because we want to be the company you want us to be. So with that said, always communicate with us. There are lots of ways to do it. You can use our email, you can use the chat on the website, you can use the Facebook pages, you can use Instagram, plenty of ways to get in touch with us. But the main message is do not be intimidated. We got you. The boards are easy to work on. They're immense joy to ride, and we hope that your ownership of Propel is everything we designed it to be. But if it's not, we want to know because we'll change it. You know, so I can't think of anything else to add into this. Thanks for tuning into our first episode. These will get progressively better as I get better at doing this and as our set improves and as we get some of the big stuff knocked out and we can start tuning in and doing some of the things that you folks request. You know, a lot of the things I'll be covering on the show will be things that I see commonly asked on the Facebook page or things that customers specifically ask me to make a video of. You know, if I get 2 or 3 customers that ask me for the same video, well, there's obviously a need for it. We'll load that video into the library. But we need your input to do that. We can't grow to be a better company for you unless we hear from you. So with that said, thanks again for tuning in today. A beautiful sweaty day here in Florida. I'm going to go ride for a little bit now. And thank you. Thanks for being a customer. Thanks for your support. Thanks for your patience. And just thank you all around. Ride hard, ride safe, ride Propel. But most importantly, make sure you tell all your friends what they're missing out on.